Hi, welcome back to this new episode of the IR Strikes Back. So today we talk about Thunderbolts. If you want to understand this video, go watch the movie, please, guys. The first thing that is noticeable in that movie is the place of Russia. We represent Russia as not a threat because Yelena and her adoptive father, let's call it that, are represented as normal beings.
They are not seen as an enemy anymore.
They're seen as losers also. Yelena is working in the shadows, yes, as a bounty hunter for Valentina. But she's also seen as being very depressed due to Natasha's death. And Alexei is also represented as being someone that built back his life as a normal citizen. He has a limousine company. He drives around important people.
We can continue with the impeachment in the movie because yes, we talk about impeachment. Not a presidential impeachment, but the impeachment of Valentina de Fontaine.
Yes, Valentina is the director of the CIA. We saw her in Black Panther 2 abusing her power and getting arrested due to this. Because if you don't know, there are several jobs that are determined by presidential nominations, such as the director of the CIA. As you saw in real life, an impeachment trial is very complex. And here it is used to showcase the impatience of Bucky.
Yes, because Bucky is back in this movie, but he's not an Avenger anymore. Well, at the beginning, he's just a congressman.
Yes, because in Captain America in a New Brave World, we saw that he was running to be a congressman. He decided that he wanted to change the system from within, which is very noble of him. But we see in this new movie that it's not so easy. Because he wants to make changes, but he believes that politics are too slow to change things. Such as the case of the impeachment. He wants Valentina to be impeached, but he sees that it's not going so great in this trial.
Especially in the US, the politics are slow. We had an image that we learned in class that the US politics are like a big boat that we need to move. But to turn this kind of boat like a cruise boat, it takes time. You need to...
Yet, the votes of... You need to get 2/3 of the congressmen to agree with that impeachment. And this is very difficult. As we can see, the impeachment trial of Donald Trump didn't succeed, and the Republican launched also a procedure to impeach Biden, and that didn't go far either.
Not only that, but the US politics is slow because the president doesn't have all his power like the legislative and the Senate. The power are
divided among different branches of the government, the legislative, the juridic, and the executive.
So to make one thing happen, you need to have the approval of a lot of people, which kind of make the politics slow, and that frustrate Bucky.
Yes, so that's what I was referring earlier when I said that they needed 2/3 of the House of Representatives, so the Congress and the Senate. So we see that he's impatient, and at some point, some congressmen come to tell him, oh, it's not going so bad, the trial. In fact, and we have prepared a counter-strike. They do have a counter-strike for this trial, and he hands him some classified documents about their strategy and tells him that his job right now is to convince more congressmen and people from the Senate to agree to this impeachment. This frustrates a lot Bucky because he's an action man. He's used to running into action because each time that there was a threat, it was simple. You have a threat, you go fight it.
After that scene, we can see Bucky in his kitchen with those classified documents.
And we see that he drops sauces on it.
Does it realist?
No, because usually the classified documents you take better care of them. But at Alagos, it didn't seem so either. So, who knows? But Bucky, we see that he's struggling with that because the fact that he drops sauces on them is very speaking in himself. And he has to wash his little arm, which is very funny. We see that it's not moving fast enough for him. And he misses being at the art of the real action in the fights. But he decided to take that path, so he tries to keep his word and continue to try. But at the gala, the charity gala that Valentina has organized, we can see that he's trying to stay in his role of congressman while still trying to push things around. He goes to see Valentina and tells him that this is not over.
So in this charity gala,
this is not the only interesting element. There's also the fact that at the beginning of the charity gala, Valentina is seen talking with a seemingly Chinese representative. And we seem to say that Valentina is the bad guy here and she's talking with the rival of the US. So it emphasizes that. But the ending makes us think otherwise.
Exactly. In the ending, we can notice that the bad guys are actually
ourselves.
Yes.
And the darkness within us.
Because that's what inside Bob that is the big dangers.
Yes, because he received the super serum and what is the bad guy is actually the depression within him.
Also, just when everyone is fighting against this darkness, the Thunderbolt will start saving everyone.
Regardless of gender, race/colors, and also social class. We see that in the street, the Thunderbolts goes from losers to superheroes because they save everyone.
And Valentina, at the end, create the Thunderbolt. And what does Yelena say to her?
We own you now. So it's a counter-strike on the politics. And it's a way to say, even if politicians go wild and goes maybe against the voters' opinion, in the end, the superheroes / at first normal beings have the real power.
Yeah, because like we noticed, Bucky became a congressman. At first, he was nobody.
And then he got possessed by Hydra, and then he became an anti-hero and then a superhero. So, and a congressman, and then back to superheroes. So, whoever it is, they can go to politics. That's the whole point of a democracy.
And this creates a message of hope because at the beginning, everyone is against each other. But at the end,
they collaborate together to defeat this darkness within themselves. And actually, it refers also to echo chambers because we see in the movie that like the shadows in Bob is trying to isolate him. And we see this quite clearly because the room grows bigger to prevent others from reaching him and reasoning with him. So it's really echo chambers, and that's something that we talk a lot in the medias. that people are closing up on themselves and starting to go spiral on their thoughts and are disconnected from reality. And we need to fight that back by putting ourselves in situations that with people, by exposing ourselves to communities that do not necessarily agree with us or do not have the same point of view. It's our society, and the fact that all these anti-heroes that become superheroes gathers together at the end to hug Bob, and that's the way to defeat the big villain. That's awesome.
It gave us another message that if the US become unite, US can take back its throne in the international relation.
The real wealth in the US, it's not companies, it's the people within.
Because people are divided, so the US cannot have a stronger place in the international scene.
It's by dealing with the polarization within and the isolation, the darkness of the people that countries will manage to recover and be at the fullest of their strength.
And this make a link with our episode on Fantastic Beasts, because the polarization is also represented in it.
Yes, so if you haven't watched it yet, we invite you to watch it.
Thank you to watching it. And being to go back to Valentina, she said that she represents the Thunderbolt as their new superhero to the media.
But at the end, Valentina, yes, she's manipulative. And yes, she's a woman. And yes, she encourages her assistant to make a choice. Because doing what is right is not always being the good guy. Sometimes it's being the bad guy in her words. So Valentina is not really the bad guy here. She just have a different perspective of what is good for the US. And yes, she has done many questionable and ethical choices in this process. But she also wants the US to recover from the hole they fell in after the Avengers moved on or died. So, yes, it's a twisted way, but at the end, when Yelena tells her, "We own you now," she doesn't run away. She could have made another scheme. But she decided that she's half course and half wants this, that the Thunderbolts are the new Avengers, becomes the new Avengers. So, who's really the bad guy? Who's an ally? Who's an enemy?
We don't know that, except that we are ourselves our biggest enemy, our biggest threat.
The polarization is the threat. But defeating polarization, a concept, it needs everyone's collaboration and willingness. So that's what they're saying in that movie. So American so far is saying that the US is aware of their mistakes. A kind G20. Like and subscribe.
And please drop in the comment if you are agree with us that the US is aware
of their mistakes and they're trying to learn on it in some twisted ways, maybe.
And we will see you in another episode.
Bye.
Ciao.